So the Indiana Fever just traded Nalyssa Smith and they got Sophie Cunningham. They just got Sophie Cunningham. They signed Sophie Cunningham. I thought this was never going to happen because, Sophie Cunningham works so much with the Phoenix Suns that, she would be there. But I do have to say, Sophie Cunningham is a very, very, very interesting one for Indiana. Like, they are very, it's a very interesting one. And it's also got Satou Sabally to Phoenix, not New York, which is crazy. So Indiana give up Nalyssa Smith and the 8th pick to Dallas. They get Sophie Cunningham and the 19th pick. So clearly, they do, whoever it is that is in with the number 8th pick, whoever it was at number 8, they were like, you know what, we don't really care. And they're getting a 2nd round pick. So my guess is that Sophie Cunningham, as far as I'm aware, is on a really team-friendly contract. I think she's on $100K a year. I think that is what the Sophie Cunningham contract is. And with Sophie Cunningham being on about $100K a year, getting off Nalyssa Smith, it means that they have a near max contract slot for another spot. And obviously the number 8 pick is gone. So Indiana at that are just getting themselves out of the 1st round. They don't care. They don't care. They're just going to take a 2nd round pick. And I'm shocked that we didn't see, say, something else going to the Fever, like a Kalani Brown, which obviously means the Fever are cooking something. The Fever are cooking something. I'm telling you, the Fever are cooking something. The Fever didn't think Nalyssa Smith was a good fit. The Fever barely took on any extra salary. And they have now got themselves they've now got themselves a player that's significantly better than Nalyssa Smith, can shoot a little bit, can play some defense, and is a bit of grit. She's probably going to start. She genuinely is probably going to start. So for that reason, it's like you're now looking at the Indiana Fever getting involved in the freaking Satou trade. I think everybody thought the Fever were going to give up Nalyssa Smith in 8 for Satou. They gave up Nalyssa Smith in 8 for Sophie Cunningham in 19. Does Sophie Cunningham start? The answer is probably yes. Yes. That is my answer. Sophie Cunningham is better than Lexi Hull. That is my answer. That Sophie Cunningham is better than Lexi Hull. For that reason, I think they're going to start Sophie Cunningham at the 3. Sophie Cunningham can play the 2, 3, or 4. She is versatile. She can end up playing the 4 beside Leah Boston. They can go small ball with Natasha Howard, and I don't think the Fever are done. The Fever have a near max. They have a near max slot. There is no way that there's no way that they're done. I don't know what they're going for. I don't know what type of trade they're making. I don't know what they're doing. But they're far from done. And Sophie Cunningham is such a big upgrade on Nalyssa Smith. Is Sophie Cunningham as good as Satou Sabally? No. But if you're asking me, would you take? Because, by the way, if you take Satou Sabally, I'm not sure you could afford Natasha Howard. If you are asking me, who would I prefer? Sophie Cunningham, if they were just to make the straight-up trade for Satou, with the 8th pick and Nalyssa Smith. Would I just take that trade straight up? Would I take Natasha Howard and Sophie Cunningham, or would I take Satou? Give me Sophie Cunningham and Natasha Howard. Give me that. I genuinely think that it is a huge, huge thing. And there is 100% something that the Fever are doing. They are not done. And I'm going to talk in a video a little bit later about why the Fever have to do this. But by the way, there is absolutely no question about it that they have something else planned with this trade. That's it. And Sophie Cunningham she is an enforcer type player with Natasha Howard. Nobody's messing with Caitlin Clark. You have got Natasha Howard and Sophie Cunningham on your team, and probably another vet. We all wanted the enforcer. No one is messing with Caitlin Clark. The Indiana Fever are going to probably be one of the they're going to be one of the top teams in the W next year, and they got significantly better. Look, I think Sophie Cunningham is a better fit than whoever they were getting with the 8th pick. I think Sophie Cunningham at this point in time is better than Sonia Citron, who's not going to be there at 8. She's better than Anissa Morrow at this point in time. Potential-wise, sure, but the thing is that the Indiana Fever have been made it very, very clear that they are trying to win while Aaliyah Boston and Caitlin Clark are on rookie contracts, and in order to do that, you have to get the best talent available, and to do that, you had to give up Nalyssa Smith. I still think, surely, they could have gotten Sophie Cunningham without giving up the 8th pick. But my theory is that maybe they have to make a choice. I think they're going to cut Victoria Saxton. I think that's a given that Saxton is going to be cut. But I think when it comes to the 8th pick, is they're going to have to make a choice. Because of the way the roster is constructed and the money, they're probably going to cut Christy Wallace as well. Or actually, no, they're probably going to cut Christy Wallace. But they pretty much had to make a choice, I'd say, if they're signing another big free agent, of the 8th pick or Grace Berger, just to make salary work. And they're probably choosing Grace Berger. And it allows them to take someone with a 19th pick and not have a guaranteed deal and be able to cut them in training camp before the roster starts. So I think that's pretty much the case. I think they were probably going to have to make a decision of the 8th pick or Grace Berger. I still think you could have gotten something. You could have gotten maybe something more than Sophie Cunningham, but you could have maybe gotten a future second maybe. Giving up the 8th pick in a kind of deep draft for whatever, maybe get like a 2027 second, because the 2027 draft is stacked. Heck, if you can get a 2028 pick, that draft is even as stacked. So yeah, that's pretty much it. A really, really interesting one. I'm going to talk a bit more about the Satu trade. I'm going to talk a little bit more about just what's going on with the Fever. But yeah, obviously Unrivaled games are going on right now. And it doesn't really matter too much with Unrivaled. I'll talk a bit more about them tomorrow. But obviously the whole Fever's offseason has changed in one day, which is absolutely crazy. But you know what? I'm here for it. I'm a little bit late on this news, but unfortunately, why does the news always happen while I'm gone for 10 hours during the day? But anyway, I'll see you guys.